$32 billion for Wiz. Google isn't just buying cloud security, Maya. They're buying a moat.
They're buying an antitrust target. But you saw the data, right? Megadeals are up 319%.
Bankers are finally eating again.
While overall deal volume dropped, it's just whales swallowing everything, like Unilever allegedly trying to eat McCormick for $60 billion.
Hellman's Mayo and Old Bay, the ultimate synergy. Show me the footnotes on that one, because these valuations are getting ridiculous. The rundown, 319%, Maya. That is the year-over-year jump in megadeals over $1 billion. Overall deal volume is actually down, but we are absolutely swimming in whales.
Swimming in whales? You promised me you would stop using banker metaphors from 1998.
I can't help it when global Infrastructure Partners and EQT team up to swallow AES for $33.4 billion. That is a massive energy infrastructure play.
It is massive, but look at the underlying thesis. Everybody is hunting for power and data center capacity. Ecolab is dropping $4.75 billion on CoolIT Systems.
Liquid cooling. Because AI data centers are literally running too hot.
Right. And Legrand is quietly scooping up KEDAC in China for server racks, plus TES in Europe for power management. The convergence trend is screaming at us. Acquirers are treating AI infrastructure like a giant buffet.
I actually love the Ecolab deal. They sell water treatment. Now they are suddenly an AI derivative play. It is a beautiful narrative pivot.
It is an expensive pivot. $4.75 billion is a steep premium. I read the footnotes on the filing, and CoolIT's margin growth simply does not justify that multiple. Ecolab bought a buzzword.
Oh, come on. They bought market share in the only sector that is actually growing right now. You are just mad they didn't structure it with an earnout.
I am always mad when there's no earnout. It shows a lack of discipline, just like Gilead dropping $2.2 billion on Ouro Medicines.
You hate the Gilead deal too?
I don't hate it, but it feels reactive. They are just throwing cash at T-cell engagers for autoimmune diseases because everybody else is.
That is how biotech works. You buy the expensive lottery tickets. Speaking of very expensive tickets, Rip City Rising officially locked down their majority stake in the Portland Trail Blazers.
Are you going to expense courtside seats as deal research?
My accountant says yes. But we need to talk about the real monster on the board today. Forget liquid cooling and basketball. The ink is finally dry on a $32 billion cloud security grab.
Google and Wiz, plus IBM snapping up Confluent. The AI arms race is getting ridiculous. The big one.
$32 billion. I just need to say it out loud a few times to make it feel real. $32 billion.
Say it all you want, Nate. The math still looks completely unhinged. Google actually closed it. Wiz is officially theirs, and I am still recovering from the sticker shock.
Unhinged is a strong word. I prefer strategically aggressive.
Oh, the banker jumped out. Strategically aggressive is exactly the phrase you put on page 4 of the pitch deck when you know the revenue multiple is highly offensive.
I feel seen and slightly attacked, but look at the chessboard here. Google is fighting a two-front war against AWS and Microsoft. They are bleeding in enterprise cloud. And with AI taking over everything, security is the absolute biggest bottleneck. Wiz is the missing piece. It solves a massive headache for them.
I agree with the strategic fit. I really do. But does it solve $32 billion worth of headache? Because I read the filings, you are looking at a valuation that assumes a flawless integration and zero customer churn. Have you ever seen Google pull off a flawless enterprise integration?
I am actively ignoring that very valid question to point out the broader pattern. It is an arms race, Maya. Look at IBM snapping up Confluent right next to this.
Right. The data streaming platform.
Exactly. It's the same playbook. IBM needs massive real-time data pipes to feed its AI models. Google needs bulletproof cloud security to convince enterprises to host their AI models. The acquirers right now are just vacuuming up anything at the intersection of AI compute and cloud infrastructure. Price is a secondary concern when survival is on the line. It is like buying fire insurance while your neighbor's house is already burning. You do not haggle over the premium.
I refuse to accept price as a secondary concern. That is exactly how we get massive goodwill write-downs 3 years from now. But I will concede the macro data backs up your arms race theory. Transactions over $1 billion are up 319% year over year.
319%. That is a staggering jump.
It gets weirder. Overall deal volume is actually down. So we are seeing fewer deals overall, but the ones crossing the finish line are absolute monsters. The analysts are right. 2026 is officially the year of the megadeal.
See, you love a good megadeal just as much as I do.
I love reading the footnotes on megadeals to see what they are hiding. I give it 6 months before we see the first cracks in the Wiz integration.
You are hopelessly cynical.
I am data-driven. There is a difference.
Well, speaking of massive monster transactions, the tech bros do not get to have all the fun this week.
Oh, I know exactly where you are going with this.
You want to talk about a mega deal? How does a $60 billion spice rack sound?
If the gossip about Unilever and McCormick is true, my kitchen pantry is about to undergo some serious corporate restructuring. Voices.
So the analysts are finally catching on. I just read a piece calling 2026 the year of the mega deal. Transactions over 1 billion are up 319% year over year.
Sure, but you have to read the rest of that sentence. Overall deal volume is actually down.
Who cares about volume when the whales are this big?
I care about volume, Nate. If Google drops $32 billion on Wiz, and GIP and EQT swallow AES for $33.4 billion, it skews the entire board. We aren't seeing a healthy, broad-based M&A market. We're seeing a few massive players panic buying.
Panic buying? Oh, come on.
It's totally panic. Look at the private equity commentary going around this morning. Everyone's aggressively hunting assets at the intersection of AI compute, mobility, and semis. That isn't strategic growth. That's pure, unadulterated FOMO.
I call it recognizing a paradigm shift. It's the same reason IBM just snapped up Confluent. Look at Ecolab buying CoolIT Systems for $4.75 billion. They sell industrial cleaning chemicals, Maya. Now they're buying liquid cooling for data centers. That's a brilliant, entirely necessary pivot.
It's a pivot that looks great on a banker's pitch deck. I want to see how a sanitation company integrates a hardcore tech hardware team. I give it 18 months before the culture clash leaks to the press.
Spoken like a true skeptic. But you have to admit the sheer scale of the capital being deployed right now is historic, and it's not just tech and energy infrastructure getting in on the mega deal trend.
Right. Which brings us to the grocery aisle. Because if the whispers out of London and Maryland are true, the tech bros are about to get upstaged by mayonnaise and garlic powder. Spill the tea.
So you're telling me we might get a $60 billion marriage between Hellmann's mayonnaise and Old Bay seasoning?
I'm telling you the bankers are bored and pitching absolute nonsense.
Oh, come on. A Unilever and McCormick tie-up is a beautiful thing. Think about the grocery aisle dominance. You combine Unilever's food division with McCormick, you get a $44.8 to $60 billion global food powerhouse. The shelf space leverage alone is staggering.
Nate, look at the margins. McCormick is a premium spice business. They have actual pricing power. Unilever's food unit is massive, sure, but it's a slow growth commodity play. You don't dilute premium vanilla extract with bulk bouillon cubes just because a banker made a pretty slide deck.
I think you're missing the macro picture here. 2026 is officially the year of the mega deal.
According to who? The people earning the advisory fees?
The data, Maya, transactions over $1 billion are up 319% year over year. Everyone is hunting for scale.
Yes, but overall deal volume is dropping. That is exactly my point. Buyers are just swinging for the fences because the middle market is completely frozen. They're trying to smash giant companies together and hoping the sheer size distracts investors from the complete lack of strategic fit.
I still think a spicy mayo synergy is a billion-dollar idea on its own. Just imagine the cross-promotional end caps.
Please never say spicy mayo synergy again. I'm genuinely begging you.
Fine, I'll keep my culinary genius to myself, but you can't deny the massive swings are back. And speaking of massive swings, we really need to talk about the regulators waking up.
You mean the Paramount and Skydance takeover of Warner Brothers Discovery?
Exactly. The dust is finally settling on their winning bid. But tomorrow, we're digging into the structural updates and whether the FTC is actually going to let that monster deal slide. Tomorrow's radar.
319%. That's how much deals over $1 billion are up year over year.
2026 is officially the year of the megadeal. We just had Google drop $32 billion on Wiz, and tomorrow I'm watching for movement on that rumored $60 billion Unilever and McCormick mashup.
I still say the FTC blocks that one. You can't corner the market on mayonnaise and garlic powder.
Oh, come on, nobody's getting a monopoly on garlic powder.
Have you actually looked at the grocery aisle consolidation data? It's terrifying.
Speaking of terrifying, tomorrow I'm watching the Paramount Skydance takeover of Warner Brothers Discovery. We should see some regulatory updates hitting the tape.
I'll be refreshing the healthcare feeds. Gilead just dropped $2.2 billion on Ouro Medicines. Pharma is quietly buying up everything while regulators are busy worrying about movie studios.
And mayonnaise.
Don't underestimate the Mayo cartel. We'll see what hits the terminal tomorrow morning.
Catch you then.